peeps? What up, YouTube? What's up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Red Crimson Gaming here. Last night was crazy. Let me tell you, Best Buy line was long as hell. Best Buy actually had two lines. They had two separate lines. They had a pre-order line and they had a walk-in line. Last night, that walk-in line wrapped around the building. Listen, I know this may sound funny to you guys, but the Best Buy around my way, I didn't even know I had a back. I'm so used to seeing the face of Best Buy, I did not know they had a back until last night. I was recording, I walked the whole Best Buy, and the line started from in front of the Best Buy all the way to the back of the building, almost like a C. It wrapped around the building. Best Buy lines were crazy. Then they had the pre-order line, which was to the right, on the opposite side of the walk-in line that stretched all the way down. It was crazy, man. GameStop, actually, they had a long line too, but the line was nowhere near as long as the Best Buy line. I was kind of surprised about that. And my GameStop actually handled the whole situation very, very sloppy, because as far as pre-order goes, it was me and a handful of guys. I want to say I was maybe the 7th or 9th person to pre-order the Nintendo Switch at GameStop. And when we got there yesterday, GameStop did something totally different. Instead of honoring the people that were in line first in order during the pre-order week, they just gave people random numbers. So they gave me a random number, which was 54. And I'm like, why would you give me number 54? And I came here, I was like the 7th person on pre-order day. So there's a guy that was waiting there for like hours when the Switch was ready to be pre-ordered. And he had like maybe like number 60 something, and he was so pissed because he's in a wheelchair. He said he has a condition, he can't be out there that long, and they're really sloppy, and he's gonna call corporate because it doesn't make any sense. During the pre-order week, when he was in front of the GameStop, he was like the 3rd person, and he had a ticket for number 66, the 66th person to get a Nintendo Switch. And I feel him on that, and I never really thought about that till after the fact. I was like, yo, I'm supposed to be like the 7th person to get their Nintendo Switch, but it ended up being the 54th person, which was weird. So GameStop did it real sloppy, and they only had one cashier, and the other two GameStop employees that were there, they were just opening and closing the door. They weren't even helping. And they had 2 cash registers, which was weird. So it was very, very sloppy. I got there like after 8, and I got home like after 1. Excuse me, guys. I was just looking at this person crossing the street right in front of me. So I'm heading to the Best Buy, the Target right now, excuse me. Actually, I'm there now because I didn't get a chance to pick up any games at GameStop. They weren't letting anybody buy anything. They were just there letting people collect their pre-orders. Yeah, it was real sloppy, man. Real sloppy. Target was real sloppy. I mean, excuse me, guys. GameStop was really sloppy last night. They really was. But I managed to secure a Nintendo Switch. And GameStop was acting like they were going to close at 1 o'clock. And all the remaining people that was left in line, they would have to show up the next day. I was like, hell no. I want my Nintendo Switch now. GameStop handled it sloppy. At least mine did. I can't speak for anybody. I can't speak for anybody else. I can't speak for anybody else, guys. I don't know how everybody else's GameStop was. Hell yeah. But my GameStop, they were very, very sloppy. people were upset, and rightfully so. Hopefully, other GameStops went smoothly. I do want Cyberpunk for the Nintendo Switch, so I'm gonna go on Target and see if they got it. I know where he's headed. Wow, I'm surprised there's no traffic here. Need assistance. Where the Nintendo Switch 2 games? I have to line up for the games too. I don't know, Cyberpunk for one. I mean, I'll wait in line or whatever. This is where the line starts?
This is all of us.
Okay. I got mine last night.
You did?
Yeah, I went to the I pre-ordered mine at GameStop. That Best Buy line was crazy, man. That line was wrapped around the damn corner.
That's crazy.
The back of the store, I mean.
Yeah.
It was awesome. They had two lines. They had a pre-order line, they had a walk-in line.
No. I figured I'd show up this morning if they had it great. If not, I'll get it in the list.
Yeah, so if you missed it last night, you definitely could get it here. But they had plenty though, man. They had plenty of Nintendo Switch. They had plenty.
The bundle?
The bundle? Okay, yeah, so you're gonna have to keep waiting. They're coming back with some more. Okay. So, and you want the bundle?
What's going on? Nah, actually, I was just trying to get some games.
Oh, sure. What games do you want to get?
Is the games over there?
Yeah, some of them over there.
Oh, I was asking the chick right here. Yeah, I was asking the chick, and she was like,
no, this is more just for the console, so.
I can get one of those keychain things.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe when you buy it, you can just go right to the table.
Yeah, that Switch 2 is nice, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I got mine last night.
I remember a couple months ago you telling me about it.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Cyberpunk, I was like, there's no way. And you were like,
Nah, listen.
I was like, this guy proved me wrong, man. He was right.
Listen, man, the new Switch, man, like that thing is powerful, man.
Oh yeah, no.
The game, even the games, they like show the same games run on the PS5. It was looking better than the PS5.
That's what I'm saying. It's like crazy. I was like, yeah, this guy was right, 100%.
Damn, that Yakuza game looked vicious too, man. All right, let me get the Cyberpunk.
Gotcha.
You guys don't have the collector's edition for the Switch, right?
No.
Oh, that's somewhere else.
Yeah, let me. Not the second one. So the first one we did.
Not this game right here.
Oh, never mind. No, that one. No, it's just that one. So.
Because I know they got it for the Switch, like a collector's edition.
No, not the. That one's the. No, that was just the Nintendo Switch 2 version.
Let me see it. Can I see it? Because that's actually one of the games I wanted to get too.
Yeah, go ahead.
But let me see.
Go ahead.
Is this like a farming game or something? Yeah, this game looks really good. It's kind of heavy. It got some weight to it. All right, let me get this. All right, Cyberpunk. Damn, that Yakuza game. I forgot that's a game key card. Oh yeah. So let me get the Cyberpunk. And let me. The Guardians. The Guardians, yeah. And do you guys have the camera for the? Yeah, let me get the camera. Sure. All right, so they have the camera accessory, the Joy-Cons. We got a couple of games here. Azuma, Street Fighter 6, Breath of the Wild, $70. Tears of the Kingdom 80. That's crazy. They got the Bravely Default, getting key cards. So I want to see what Cyberpunk, Yakuza, Sonic Shadows, the Tetris, Split Fiction, Bravely Default, Zelda. So they pretty much just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. Wow. You would think they would have more. I guess the other games are all digital games. They do have a lot of Pro 2 controllers though. I heard Doom, the Dark Ages didn't do too well. The damn game is not even on cartridges, so I guess so. Makes sense. Oh. So, pretty much. Let me get out of here. Well, Target had Nintendo Switch 2 in stock, and there was really no line. Just a little bit of people that was waiting in line at the cash register. It was a smooth transition, actually. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. I messed up. It was a smooth transaction. I was in and out of Target. Got secured. I picked up. What the hell? I don't know, guys. I guess I'm still tired, still sleeping from last night, but I pretty much picked up Cyberpunk and that Rune Factory game for the Nintendo Switch, as well as the camera. Okay, so I'm heading back home now, guys. As I said before, while walking towards my car, I picked up Cyberpunk and Rune Factory and a camera. I was kind of curious about the camera. It's almost like an impulse buy, but the camera looks so nice and cute and cool. But I heard you can actually use your own camera. So my camera doesn't have a USB-C plug-in, but I do have a USB-C adapter. So I'm gonna plug it in and see if it actually works. And if it works, maybe I take back my camera and get my money back. Thing is, my camera doesn't really have a stand, so if I do decide to use my camera and it works from a Nintendo Switch 2, I have to find something to prop it up on, which may not be hard at all because it's one of those cameras where you can mount on your monitor. But anyway, guys, let me show you what I got. Oh, Target gave me this little cute bag. If you guys like this bag, you can go down to your local Target and you'll automatically get this bag. They will not give you a regular bag. So I got a camera, got Cyberpunk, and I could never remember this game. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition. Switch 2 is finally here, guys. Can you believe that? Alright, see you guys back at home. And one last thing. For those of you guys that missed the pre-order and didn't manage to snag a system, walking into Best Buy, GameStop, Target should have plenty, and I'm pretty sure Walmart may have plenty. And the good thing is there is no line, so it kind of feel like back in the days where you could just wake up, go to the store, buy the system with no hassle. So it was a smooth transaction. There was absolutely no traffic, no foot traffic in Target. You could just walk to the game section, ask them for a Nintendo Switch, tell them whatever game they want. You tell them what game you want, and they'll give it to you. So go to your local Target and Walmart. You guys should be good. You don't have to fight any foot traffic. The Switch 2 is finally here. This is a monumental moment. We have been waiting for the Nintendo Switch for several years, and it is finally here. Those Best Buy lines was crazy. Those GameStop lines were crazy. But we're finally here. Everybody has a system. It's out there in the wild, and I'm going to go through an unboxing with you guys right here, right now. So if you're new to my channel, go on ahead and like and subscribe, and let's get it on with this unboxing, guys. Okay, so let's go. The Switch 2 is finally here. We've all been waiting for this system a long time. Myself as well. I am excited, just like every human being that is out there. So let's go ahead and open up this thing. Without further ado, I will admit that I had a hard time opening it up right then. So there goes your initial setup. Let me zoom in here so you guys can get a good look. And a lot of people have acquired this system before the street date, which is always a given, which is always awesome. Wow. This is the tablet. Look how big it is. Let's put this to the side for a second. Wow, this thing is actually beautiful. It almost looks like an OLED, but it's not. So this is the bottom of the system, the base. You have a USB-C, and there are two USB-Cs to be exact. This is where you plug the charging port, and there's another USB-C right here on the top. And as you can see, it doesn't look too different from the original Switch. Everything, the aesthetics, the build is quite similar to the Nintendo Switch that has previously been released. It's almost identical, pretty much twins. You have the game card slot right here. You have the headphone jack. You have a secondary USB-C slot right here where you can plug the camera accessory in. And of course you have the vent right here. I do not know what this button is at the moment. You have the volume rocker right here. Volume up, volume down, the power button. USB-C at the bottom. And a wonderful Nintendo Switch 2 logo. This is definitely a premium build, and this is the same premium build that the OG 2017 launch model Switch should have had. And even though this may look flimsy, the flap right here, it actually is not. There's a lot of restraint to it. It feels tight, and it can actually go back a lot farther than the OLED model, at least from my experience. Wow, this thing looks gorgeous, man. The screen is gorgeous. It's a premium build. And we're going to take a look at the Joy-Cons. This is actually my favorite part of the Nintendo Switch 2 system. A lot of people had beef with the OG Joy-Cons for the Nintendo Switch 2017 model. And I'm not gonna say I'm there with them, but I understand. Ergonomically, they could have done a lot better. I always thought the Joy-Cons were small. They were built for small hands, like a child's hand. But you know those Japanese, they have small hands anyway. And look at this, man. This definitely feels a lot more premium than the 2017 launch model. Definitely. I feel like this right here is what the 2017 launch model Nintendo Switch should have been. I always felt like the 2017 model Nintendo Switch was a prototype, and you have the smooth glide sticks. It definitely does have a smoother, excuse me, hi, sorry about that. It does have a smoother feel to it, but it's kind of hard to really judge it until I start playing games on it, but it definitely does feel a lot smoother, honestly, it does. It does feel a lot smoother. And I know the Nintendo Switch 2017 launch model analog sticks, I felt like the analogs didn't have like really much give to it. Like it didn't really have a lot of room to like, you know, it just felt, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. It felt like the analog sticks could have more give, more space to maneuver. But these definitely does feel a lot smoother. I can't say for sure if it's better. Judging by the build, it looks exactly the same to me as the OG's 2017 launch model Nintendo Switch. It looks like the same exact build, even though Nintendo said they redesigned this from the ground up. And they probably did, but I don't know. I feel like the analog sticks kind of feel the same to me. It's not that much give. It's weird. I can't really explain it, but only time will tell when you start playing games. But the joysticks do feel a lot smoother, but it doesn't have a lot of give. The buttons are definitely bigger, slightly bigger. Well, noticeably bigger, actually. They do feel a lot better. Even the directional button pads right here feels a lot more premium. Basically, the Joy-Cons for the Switch 2 feels a lot more premium. I like how big they are because I have really huge hands, man hands, and it definitely fits my hands. It doesn't feel cheap, flimsy, and small like it did with the OG 2017 model Switch. And you have the magnets, the magnets right here. I heard the SR and the SL buttons are magnets. You have the release button. The release button feels a lot better. It actually feels, see there you go. This is how these buttons right here, you push it in and it releases the Joy-Cons. They actually are a lot quicker and easier to push. Just look at that. It's kind of hard to really judge it just by playing around with it. I definitely have to use these in practice to really tell the difference, if there is a difference from the 2017 model Joy-Cons while playing games. So I don't know. I mean, definitely overall, it is a much more premium build. Just by looking at it, you can tell they're bigger. They fit bigger hands. That's a huge plus. But in practice, we'll see if they're actually a larger improvement over the OG Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. And it's funny how smaller the box is, but there's a lot of contents in it. Oh, I kind of like how they did that. So they cover up the code so you guys can't see the code. Normally the code will be just right there. If you're not careful, somebody can grab your code and use it. But this is the code for Mario Kart World Tour. It's kind of disappointing that they didn't pack in a physical copy, and that's really what I wanted. But I'm not going to spend $80 on Mario Kart, and no telling how long Nintendo will keep this game at $80. This game is not worth $80, I feel. No game is. $70 was already pushing it, but $80, that's crazy. I would literally trade somebody the digital download for the cartridge, but that's neither here nor there. But the health and safety information and usage guidelines, people don't normally read those. Believe it or not, sometimes I do. And we have the high speed HDMI cable. Now, I don't remember if this is 2.0 or 2.1, but nonetheless, they're high-speed HDMI cable capable of outputting 4K at 60 FPS as Nintendo promised with the Nintendo Switch in dock mode. And here we go. We have the what do you call these? The straps. These are the straps 2.0. Hopefully I don't mess this up on camera. Wow. It went on so easily and smoothly. I'm not gonna lie, the Joy-Cons have a definitely premium built. Smooth premium build. I mean, the I'm really impressed with Nintendo where they took the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons was I know a lot of people may disagree with me, but the Joy-Cons was actually very creative and my favorite part of the Nintendo Switch. It was too small and it felt somewhat cheap. But this definitely feels like an improvement big time over the standard Joy-Cons from the 2017 model. And I actually like how the straps went on a lot easily, because a lot of times, remember with the OG Switch, people made a lot of mistakes and they would put the straps on wrong. And the way how Nintendo designed them, it was so easy to really put them on wrong. And you could potentially maybe even damage your Joy-Cons. I never damaged mine, but it seemed like it's definitely a possibility that you could if you put it on the wrong way. But like I said, the OG Switch was a prototype. And Nintendo didn't know this thing was going to take off. The Switch took off. 152 million sold. It took off running. Everybody loved it. In spite of some of the complaints. And all they did, they just perfected what they had. Because definitely the Switch, I feel as if, is the best system that has been released in the past 8 years. And that's why I said I feel like the OG Switch was a prototype in every single way. But Nintendo had something perfect. They knew it. And that's why the competition like ROG Ally and Steam Deck came up with the idea to do their own handhelds. But Nintendo improved upon what they already have. The Switch was already a perfect system. They just made it a lot better. They improved on what they had. And this thing fits the hand perfectly. Look at this. Look how huge my hand is, and look how easily I can grip this thing with no issues. This thing is perfect. And here's the thing, guys. I always thought that the Joy-Cons was supposed to be on par with the Pro Controller, but with the OG 2017 Nintendo Switch model, the Pro Controller was definitely a better build and just a better overall quality than the Joy-Cons. And I feel as if you're going to make the Joy-Cons your standard controller, they should be at least the best or on par with your primary controller. But this time around, it actually feels like you may not even need a Pro Controller. These should be good enough, or at least hold you over until you decide to pick up a Pro Controller. But overall, I'm impressed with these. The analog sticks, to me, I still feel like they dropped the ball on it. It doesn't feel like it has a lot of space, a lot of give. But in practice, that may change. So let's move along here. And we have the charge grips. I don't know why they call it a charge grip, because that makes people think that you can actually charge the Joy-Cons with these, but you can't. But you know what would have been dope? If these were actually charge grips, where you didn't have to buy a third-party accessory. You just plug it in with the adapter, and just your system will be fully charged up. Now, wow, I just realized something. I do not know how to take... Wow. I don't know how to take the Joy-Con, the straps off. That's crazy. Oh, you just squeeze the sides? That's kind of weird. here it goes, a magic moment. Well, I didn't feel. They said these are well, they're magnets, right? But I don't feel that pull. You still have to put it in yourself. I think it feels no different from the OG Nintendo Switch while in the grips, to be honest with you. The dog face. I never really had a problem with the dog face Joy-Con attachment with the OG Switch, and to me it feels the same. The only difference is it's bigger now, so you can grip it more, but in all actuality it feels the same to me. And this is the power brick. I seen a video where somebody said it has some weight to it. Damn, you know what? It really doesn't have it's a weird feeling. It's like it has some weight to it, but it doesn't have some weight to it, if that kind of makes sense. It's definitely more weightier than your average adapter brick, power brick, whatever you want to call it. But, I mean, you definitely could bust somebody in the head with this if you threw it at them. So you have the USB-C. You already know what this is for. This is how you connect the power brick. Now, speaking about a power brick, before I move along, it's kind of interesting how Nintendo made it separately. It's not one, the cord is not attached to the power brick, meaning if you happen to lose the USB-C cord, you can use one you have laying around. So that's actually kind of smart, but I mean, who loses an adapter, right? And here's the grand finale. The dock. Now, just by looking at this, I can tell that it's a lot bigger than the standard dock for the Nintendo Switch. I've seen some comparisons online between the Nintendo Switch 2 dock and the OG Nintendo Switch dock, and this is definitely bigger, and it makes a lot of sense because the Switch 2 is a lot more powerful, so there is a fan inside here to keep the system cool while dock. And I do like how the back plate comes off easy. It doesn't seem as cheap as the back plate on the standard, or should I say, the OG Nintendo Switch dock. But one thing, it definitely looks more premium. As you can see, there's a smooth finish on the inside. Because remember, back in 2017, a lot of people complained that the Nintendo Switch was getting scratched up when they drop the Switch inside the dock. But there's a smooth finish on the inside. Not sure if that really matters, if it still can scratch your Nintendo Switch or not. But I would still use caution while sliding your Nintendo Switch into this dock. But definitely, it's a more premium finish. It's light. It's not really heavy. It may be slightly heavier than the OG Nintendo Switch dock, which is to be expected because there is a fan in here. It looks like there's a lot more going on in here, but the build is kind of the same, where you have the AC adapter, the HDMI out, and you have the LAN cable for internet. And I'm not gonna lie, I always hated the design of where the HDMI and the AC adapter goes, because it's very, very awkward. Like, I would literally fight to plug in my AC adapter and the HDMI into the standard OG Switch dock because it was just weird. It felt weird. And the design on this is pretty much the same, but just by looking at it, it seemed like it may be a lot easier to go in this time. I may not have to fight with it like I did with the 2017 model dock or even the OLED dock, to be, to be fair. But only time will tell. In practice, I definitely will know for sure. But the build is premium, and the finish is very smooth. A lot of curved edges. Very, very smooth. And let's see if we can put this back in here with no issue. Oh, I did it wrong. Oh wow, so respect to Nintendo, because actually the back plate goes in a lot easier than the OLED model and the 2017 launch model dock. So respect for that. So that's a good thing. Man, it feels so smooth. So what else do we have here? So that pretty much was the unboxing for the Nintendo Switch 2. Very similar to the OG launch model Nintendo Switch. So what else do we have here? What else can we unbox? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fire up. Actually, no, before I do that, how about we do this? Voila. So the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller. Now, there's been a lot of questions on should you purchase the Switch 2 Pro Controller if you already have the standard Pro Controller for your OG Nintendo Switch. And that's a very tricky question. And here's the thing. I'll let you know this. You can actually use your Pro Controller from your old Nintendo Switch on the new Nintendo Switch. But the only difference is you're not able to wake up the system with the OG Switch Pro Controller, which is actually kind of funny, but I think that's a design choice purposely done by Nintendo. Why? Because of course they're trying to make money. They want to sell you this accessory. So the Pro 2 controller can only wake up the Nintendo Switch 2, whereas the Pro controller from the standard Nintendo Switch cannot wake the system up out of sleep. But at least it works, right? So if you're on a budget and you can afford the Pro Controller at launch, you can use your standard Pro Controller from your OG Switch, but you would have to walk up to the dock and press the power button in the system to wake it up. So it all boils down to if you're lazy and you do not want to get up and hit the power button on your Nintendo Switch while it's docked. If you're lazy and you just want to hit the button to wake up the system from the controller, then you're going to need a Pro Controller too. But in all actuality, you do not need the Pro Controller. So you're probably asking yourself, so okay, Red Crimson, if you do not need the Pro Controller too, why do you have it? It's pretty simple, actually. And it's not really an excuse, but I've heard so many good things about the Pro 2 controller. I heard they improved the analog sticks. Most importantly, I heard they improved the D-pad. And we all know, I don't know about you new generation Z kids, but we all know that the D-pad on a controller, a good D-pad on a controller determines if you have a good controller or not. And the best way to test out a good D-pad on a controller is with fighting games. And a lot of controllers have failed that test when it comes to the D-pad. And it's kind of crazy, like a lot of third-party companies that make controllers for all systems, for some reason they always 8 to 9 out of 10 times drop the ball on a D-pad. It seems like the D-pad is just an afterthought for a lot of companies, and you cannot skimp on the D-pad because you need that D-pad. I think the D-pad is more precise and more important than the analog sticks on any controller. But I've heard they did improve the analog sticks on the Pro 2 controller and the D-pad as well. The shoulder buttons, I heard, is also good. I heard there's a big improvement overall. There is also a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack you can plug into your controller for voice chat, which is awesome, aka via Xbox style, which is pretty dope. The only issue I had with the Pro Controller on the OG Switch was the D-pad. The D-pad was not terrible, it was not bad, but it was not great. Especially with playing fighting games. So in practice, only time will tell when you're actually using it in real time if it's an improvement over the standard Nintendo Switch Pro Controller. And we all know nowadays it's all about marketing. They're going to tell you whatever they want to tell you to, so you can go out there and buy accessories, an additional controller for your new system. It could be worse, it could be better. But I definitely will let you guys know ahead of time. Here it is. I'm not gonna lie. I like how the shoulder buttons feel. The shoulder buttons feel so. Okay, off the rip. This controller feels a lot better than the Pro Controller for the Nintendo Switch. The shoulder buttons just feel silky smooth. Not gonna lie, it feels a lot better, the shoulder buttons. Okay, I see why they call the analog sticks smooth glide sticks, because it does feel smooth and it does glide. But like I said, guys, me playing around, me fondling with the controller is different from you actually playing a game. The real test boils down to actually playing a game with this controller. And I said it before, a fighting game is the best way to test if you have a good controller, whether it's analog wise or D-pad wise. The face buttons are big. Okay, I mean, a lot of people were satisfied with the Pro Controller already, so it's not much improvement they could have done aside from making the D-pad better. But it always impressed me when you already have a perfect product, and you know, whatever company that comes along and they improve on what they already have. I'm always impressed when console manufacturers do this. Even third-party companies. If you have a controller that's already perfect and you're like, hey, you know, this controller is good, I like how it feels, it plays good, it's perfect, right? But they come along with a second edition and they make it a lot better when you thought it couldn't get better. That's always a beautiful thing. And guess what? I absolutely feel the same way with the Pro Controller 2 for the Nintendo Switch. This actually feels a lot better than the Pro Controller. So now that I'm playing around with it, I'm following this controller. To me, it's like this. I feel as if you had the extra cash, it's not going to hurt you. I would go ahead and buy the Pro 2 controller, because this controller feels so comfortable. It feels a lot better than the standard Pro Controller from the OG Nintendo Switch in every single way. The shoulder buttons feel so much better, smoother. It just feels better. The buttons overall feels a hell of a lot better than the standard Pro Controller. The D-pad, okay, now I'm playing around with it. I can tell they pretty much knew they had a good controller already, so all they did was just made like some slight tweaks. And it could be major tweaks depending on how you look at it. But in practice, like I said, once you start playing these games, you're going to know the difference and feel the difference. And the D-pad definitely feels premium. I like how it feels. Wow. Jeez, I mean, yo, this controller feels good. It feels good, not gonna lie. Is it the best controller I've ever felt? I would say no. I actually have a third-party controller that feels somewhat better than this, and even may be better, but whatever, right? So I didn't talk about the back paddles, GR, wow, and GL. I kind of don't like the terminology of the letters, but these back paddles are a lot of, is a big deal to a lot of players out there, believe it or not, because we're familiar with the scuff controllers, a lot of third-party controllers, third-party premium controllers always have those back paddles, and I think they're kind of, depending on how you look at it, and don't crucify me in the comment section, but honestly, I always felt like back paddle buttons were very, very overrated because I never used them and I never saw the point of using them. It's one of those things where, like, in practice, you actually have to train your brain, program itself to use those back paddle buttons, honestly. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm more of a standard person. I mean, if you give me a good control scheme, I just keep that and I run with that. I go with that. But I never saw the point of mapping any buttons to the back paddles. I never did. And I remember Xbox kind of started that with the Elite controller back on the original 2013 Xbox One. And in hindsight, it seemed like it was a cool idea, but I never used it. I always felt like you had to go out of your way to use those back paddle buttons. And I know for a lot of shooting games like Call of Duty, for example, a lot of people would put like jump and slide on the back paddles, where it's just an easy pull for you to just do a certain type of move that you're trying to pull off. But I don't know, my brain doesn't work like that. I just rock with the standard control scheme, and it's always been great for me. But here's the thing, I love how Nintendo simplified using the back buttons. What do I mean by that? You can just easily bring up the menu by a press of a button, and you can program whatever button you want to these back paddles. That's the simplest way I've ever seen, and kudos to Nintendo for that, for keeping the simplicity alive. You do not need to perform brain surgery or disarm a bomb trying to figure out, yo, how am I going to map jump or slide or shoot to the back paddles? It's just one press of a button, it comes up and it asks you, what do you want to do with the back paddles? I kind of like that. So that actually pushes me more to like experiment with it now, because it's so simple. Nintendo has simplified that, and kudos to that. I think more people need to give Nintendo respect for actually simplifying how to use those back buttons, how to map them. So I made experience with it, and naturally you automatically gonna press these buttons, and it can actually trip you up in the game, to be honest with you. And that's another reason why I don't use them. But you know, if you map the buttons to the back paddles, your brain is gonna tell you, yo, you know what, you map the buttons to the back paddles, so be more careful how you hold the controller and not squeeze it too tight to press it. But yes, I'm gonna say overall, this is a better controller than the standard Switch Pro controller, to be honest with you. Yes, it's a huge improvement. I still think the Wii U Pro controller was like the best as far as like build quality, materials, but I just didn't like how they had both the analog sticks, PlayStation style right here. That kind of ruined it. It was weird. It's like they had, I forgot how they had it. I think whatever, but yeah, the way how they have it, Xbox style, like you have the analog right here to the left, and analog to the right. That's how they should have did the Wii U controller. I think of the Wii U controller, they had an analog stick right here and the right stick right here. It would have been the best, even better than this, because I actually do kind of feel like the Pro 2 controller, the Wii U Pro controller was actually the best, to be honest with you. It's just the analog placements were bad. But this right here overall is very perfect. It's not too small, it's not too big, it just fits your hand perfectly. And you can look at the font, it may be hard to see. Actually, you can see it on camera. It actually, I like how the font look, especially when you tilt it. It shines more. But the buttons feel a lot better. The face buttons, the analog buttons, the analog sticks, it all feels good. This is a very good controller, and a lot of people are saying this is like the best controller right now, even beating out the DualSense controller. But Like I said, in practice, I'd have to play around with it, because what I do like about a DualSense controller, I like the vibration, and they emphasize more on the vibration. They utilize it more, because Nintendo did not use the HD Rumble at all for the most part, 9 out of 10 times, with the OG Nintendo Switch. But I've been hearing great things about the HD Rumble for the Switch 2 Pro controller. I heard it's a lot better. They're utilizing it more, especially like in Cyberpunk, and that's a good thing. That's what Nintendo need to do. Take a cue from Sony and utilize what they have a lot more. And I'll spend so much time on this damn controller, man. I guess that just let you guys know that I'm really digging this controller. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on. What do we have here? So we have the Nintendo Switch 2 camera. This is actually my favorite part of the Nintendo Switch 2. You can finally do native chat from the console itself. You do not need an app. I never really had a beef with using the app. If you ask a lot of kids actually thought it was a cool feature, especially nowadays how a lot of kids are on their phone. But, you know, OGs like me, we're used to having native chat on the console straight up. At the push of a button, you see your friends. When you scroll through your friend list, you just click on them and you can chat to them via headset style, whatever. But Nintendo took it a step further, where you have a camera where you can actually see who you're talking to while you are playing the game. And not even the Xbox could do that. And they somewhat could do it, but it was very, very sloppy. It wasn't put at the forefront, and it wasn't done nicely and smoothly how Nintendo had it set up. And a lot of people have been saying the camera looks really big, but in person it's really small, as it should be. And that's kind of cool. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the Nintendo Switch camera being tiny. Basically, it's going to be out of the way. Out of sight, out of mind. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, I see what they were saying. It's definitely... everything comes with a USB-C cord. It's like every accessory comes with a USB-C cord. So if you lose one, you know you got a backup. Oh yeah, look how tiny this thing is. They were not lying. Look how tiny this thing is. And the build is, oh man, this is really nice. Seeing this camera on a Nintendo Direct was one thing. Seeing it on YouTube is one thing, but seeing it in person is another, because just like I said, everybody thought the camera was really big, but it really isn't. Look how tiny and out of the way it is. It is very, very sleek. And you have the privacy shutter. So for those of you all out there, and remember with the Xbox One, when they first introduced Kinect, everybody did not like the fact that they thought that Microsoft can spy on you. And they probably could. I think they could. Anybody could spy on you for that matter, if they actually hack into your camera system. But I do like how they have the privacy shutter, confirming to you that, hey, you know what, if you think we're spying on you, all you have to do is just move the shutter over, open and close. This thing is tiny, man, and this is $55 due to the tariffs. They add an extra $5 onto it, but wow, this thing is actually tiny, man. Okay, so if you look closely, you can see the USB slot right there. You can barely see it on camera, but in person I can see it. So you just plug it up in here and then plug it to the top of your Nintendo Switch. This camera is actually pretty dope. And speaking of camera, Nintendo did something really cool. You do not have to buy this accessory. If you already have a camera that's laying around in your house, like a computer camera, for example, you can actually use your more powerful, more higher resolution camera on the Nintendo Switch. And I did some research, and I heard if you have a better, because this is basically a standard 1080p camera, but I heard if you have a better camera, like a 4K camera at 60, I heard that the Nintendo Switch will take advantage of the more powerful camera, resulting in better images. So that's actually kind of dope on Nintendo's behalf, because we know that Nintendo, they prioritize their accessories. You have to buy the accessories for their products, which is cool, which is understandable, because I'm used to it. We all are used to it, man. I mean, Nintendo console manufacturers have been doing this for years. So let's move it along here. I have the GameStop carrying case. Here's an interesting fact. I actually got this for free. GameStop screwed up. They had new management. The guy didn't know what he was doing. I canceled. Actually, I ordered a carrying case and a screen protector, which I canceled because I decided to go with another company. A company that I've been dealing with since the OG Nintendo Switch. So I canceled the screen protector and the carrying case, but for somehow they still gave it to me. So when they handed me my bag, my goodie bag with my Nintendo Switch 2 in it, and I took a peek in it, and I saw that the screen protector and the carrying case was still in it, I was like, you know what? They made a mistake. I canceled it. I don't think they charged me for it because I did cancel it, so I just hurry up and got up out of there. So I'm not sure if I can return this, but I don't know. I guess I'll hold on to it for now, keep it sealed for now. If I can return it, that'd be dope, but I'm going to end up getting another case from another company, a better case. I'm looking at that Kill Switch case. What else do we have here? So this is a screen protector. I'm telling you about a tempered glass. Now, all my handheld consoles, as well as my cell phone, I always use tempered glass. So we'll see how that turns out. Cyberpunk and Guardians of Azuma. I'm gonna go ahead and unbox Cyberpunk for you guys because I already know I'm going to keep this game. I told y'all in my last video I was going to support CD Projekt Red. Kudos to them for putting the game on a cartridge and not using the game key card, and they need to get rid of that game key card. I'm not supporting that. But let's move along here. And for those of you that don't know, this is a 64 gigabyte cartridge. And let's talk about the packaging. I actually like, my daughter, she didn't like the big Nintendo Switch 2 logo right here. She said she preferred the small Nintendo Switch logo in the top left hand corner. I feel her on that, but I see why Nintendo did this, because listen, man, there are some idiots out there, there's some fools out there who can't determine the difference between the original Switch and the Switch 2. Their kids or their family member may want to Switch 2, but what they're going to do is end up picking up a random Switch game, and they'll be like, hey, little Tim is going to be like, hey, this is for the Nintendo Switch 1. It's not for the Nintendo Switch 2, because some people, I guess, they don't know the difference between Switch 2 and Switch 1. But I actually do think the box art is a lot better than the OG Nintendo Switch. I like how Nintendo brought back the red, because as we all know, red is Nintendo's standard color. So kudos for them for bringing back the red color. And I have no problem with the big Nintendo Switch 2 logo on the packaging, letting you know that this is a Nintendo Switch 2 game, not an original Nintendo Switch game. The red really stands out. Red really pops. Red is like one of the best colors. Red stands out. So kudos to Nintendo for doing that. I love it. The box art is good. Love the box art. It's gonna look good on your shelf. It's gonna look good on my shelf. Okay, so we all know that the game always looks good when the wrapping is off and the open sesame. Here's the thing. I love the box art, the packaging for the Switch 2 games, but I think in the inside may be a little bit too much red. I think they should have did it like the original Switch where you have the background right here. But some games do have backgrounds. See, this is just a white piece of paper. Shame on you, CD Projekt Red. But whatever, right? So let's take a look at the Nintendo Switch 2 cartridges. And these are the newer high capacity 64 gigabyte cartridges. Loads a lot faster, can hold more data. It's pretty much the same. It's the same shell, the same build like the OG Nintendo Switch. The only difference is it's red and the contents within it is just high capacity. CD Projekt Red, normally their games come with manuals and goodies, but this time around they decided to keep it light and just give you stickers instead. The stickers are cool. I'm not really into stickers. I'm not really a kid anymore, but they're welcome. But they should have at least gave us like a map and most importantly a manual and some in-game box art would have been dope. But I am not one to complain. Now this other game right here, Gardens of Azuma, Rune Factory. I've never played a Rune Factory game. And Nintendo Switch has a few of them. Rune Factory has been around for years. It's an old franchise. It's nothing new under the sun. I've never played any of them, but I think Rune Factory 4 or 5 look really decent on the Nintendo Switch, but I never got around a chance to playing it or purchasing it. But to me, this one seemed like it's one of the best ones. So I decided to go ahead and take a gamble, take a chance on this one. I did like the art style, and most importantly, I did like the fighting mechanics in this game. The art style is pretty dope, but don't know yet if I'm going to hold on to that or sell it. So I'm just going to hold on to this. And here comes the fun part. I do like how easily you can pull the Joy-Cons apart. Already have already have marks on here. Okay. It's crazy how you don't feel a magnetic pull on here, but there goes that famous snap. Oh, let's do that once again. Let's take this apart. There goes that snap. I like how it snaps on. There's not much wiggle. I think the left side has more wiggle than the right side. I've seen a YouTube video of somebody saying that there is no wiggle, but there is. Maybe not as bad as the OG Switch, but there is some wiggle. Wow. Okay, so we did a little drop test. So if you pull it by the Joy-Cons, it actually won't fall off. I like that. So, but other than that, even though I think the left side has some wiggle to it, as you can see, it's locked in, and it actually feels great. Oh yeah. So for those of you guys who think the OG Switch was uncomfortable and the Joy-Cons were small, I'm going to let you know that this system was built for man hands. Obviously Nintendo paid attention to the competition like Steam Deck, and they kind of made this more ergonomic for the hands, for big hands, because my hands are huge, guys. Look at my hands. And I kind of feel like maybe with these newer Joy-Cons, bigger buttons, you may not need a Pro Controller. You might be okay. This could probably hold you over until you decide to get a Pro Controller, or if you acquire the money to get a Pro Controller, because everybody's situation is different. Everybody's situation is different. We don't know what everybody's funds is looking like, and you may not have enough money to purchase a Pro Controller too. So this will definitely hold you over until you get a Pro Controller. But like I said before, in practice, only time will tell during gameplay if the Joy-Cons are a big improvement, and if you can play fighting games, pull off those Hadoukens and Shoryukens with no problem. But so far, this thing is very comfortable. I think it's light, at least to me. Oh, I think I put these things on wrong. It's upside down. Yeah, it definitely feels good. This definitely feels premium. Definitely feels a lot better than the OLED Switch. Had no problem with the OLED Switch, but this definitely feels better. And I do have a Steam Deck, and I have a ROG Ally and Legion Go, and those systems are a lot more weightier, they're heavier, and they're bigger than the Switch. And if you look at the Nintendo Switch form factor, this actually, for the power it puts out, it's a lot smaller, sleeker, and lighter than the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck and the Legion Go. And that's saying a whole lot, because those systems are pushing out some serious power, but they're mighty thick. And look how slim this system is, and it pushes out more power than all of those systems. So for Nintendo to fit a powerful console in this small and sleek form factor, that's impressive in itself. So honestly, I'm going to say this system is lighter. It's light. This system is definitely lighter than the Steam Deck, the Legion Go, and the ROG Ally. That's saying a lot. And, well, I might not be able to put it in my pocket because it's definitely a lot bigger. The OLED Switch I can definitely put in my pocket, but this one, I don't think I can, and I don't think I would try to. It'll be very stupid. I'm just going to keep this thing in the case. This thing is light and sleek. This thing is more screen. This thing has more, it's mostly screen, that's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, this system is definitely smaller than those PC handhelds, and it's packing a lot of power. Kudos to Nintendo for keeping this smaller design form factor. That is crazy. And I know you guys didn't think I was just going to end the video like that and not show you what it looks like by firing it up. And I kind of didn't want to fire it up because I have to transfer my data from my OLED Switch to here, but I'm going to go ahead and fire it up. I do like the fact that there is some charge to it, and I do not have to put the system on an adapter to charge it up to get it to work. So there is some charge to the system, so that's cool. I do like how loud the speakers are. The issues I had with Nintendo handhelds from even back to the old Game Boy, like Nintendo always cheaped out on sound, and I feel as if like the Nintendo Switch 2, they really did the sound a lot of justice this time around. It's loud. I like that. Listen, I was a former musician. I used to do music, and the Nintendo Switch 2 sounds really loud. I like that, and I respect that. And hopefully, here's hoping that once you plug in a headset, it sounds even better, because Nintendo did show in that direct that we improved on the sound. We have spatial sound, spatial audio, But so far, this thing sounds phenomenal. It's good. I'm great. And I think the best sounding handheld is the ROG Ally. When I had the ROG Ally, I was blown away by the speakers on that thing. So Nintendo really had to step their game up in the speaker, in the sound department. And so far what I'm hearing is good. And speaking of sound, as you can see, as you can hear, Nintendo actually brought back the sound, the music. That's what everybody was craving. All Nintendo consoles in the eShop, they always had music, and that was absent from the Nintendo Switch, but they brought it back with the Nintendo Switch too. So for those of you that miss the menu music, the eShop music, so far Nintendo brought it back. But I do not know if they do play music in the eShop or not, but on the initial startup, the initial setup, there is music playing, which gives us hope that, you know what, maybe they do have music in the eShop. But let me carry on. System feels really good. I like how big the screen is, how dense and clear the texts are. And you know, I wear glasses and I do not have my glasses on right now, and I can see the words clear as day. The bigger screen and the more high density font is easier on my eyes and easier to read. Now, I've seen a lot of people say on YouTube that people never read the end user license agreement. Here's the thing. I do read it, but if you do not agree with it, you cannot proceed anyway. So it doesn't matter if you read it or not, because if you disagree with it, then you can't proceed if you do not accept. So it defeats the purpose of even reading it. If they gave me a choice, I will always say no. I do love how loud the sound is. Okay, so the Wi-Fi setup, you hear the menu music, the system is really loud, and I respect that from Nintendo, because Nintendo always dropped the ball on their sound on their handhelds, but they did their thing with the spatial audio. This thing sounds beautiful. It is really loud. So moving along here. So we have to download an update. And listen, this thing has a 120 hertz screen, and the navigation is silky smooth. Smoother than the Steam Deck will ever be. And that's not a shot to the Steam Deck owners. I have a Steam Deck myself. I'm not hating, but come on, man. At the end of the day, Nintendo is king. I'm trying to find my time zone. New York, Montreal. Sounds about right. The system can stand at whatever angle you like. Just pull the rear stand. So, okay, let's demonstrate for you newbies out there. So that's a stand. It feels really sturdy. There's a lot of resistance to it. Actually, it's funny because I always thought the OLED stand was better than this, but actually this stand feels a lot better than the OLED. And the OLED stand was premium. Only difference is a lot of space right here, but that doesn't matter. This system feels really great in the hands. We already know you can hit the button at the back, pull off the Joy-Cons. Man, this is awesome, man. Such an awesome system. Connect to a TV later. View attachment guides. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and view it. To remove strap, hold the release button on the back of the Joy-Con. Oh, so that's how you do it? Wow, okay. I forcefully pulled it off. Choose a style, you can change at any time. And it's updating. So, what I think about the Switch 2 so far, everything I expected. Much more premium than the OLED model. Feels great in the hand. The ergonomics is great. The buttons are great. Like, this is a premium system. This is how the OG Switch should have felt. But it's okay. This is a newer generation. Nintendo released a new console with a new feel. The system feels great. And all that flack that Nintendo has gotten with the Nintendo Switch saying it's not comfortable or whatever the case may be, honestly, guys, I'm going to be real with you right now. Nintendo was low-key paying attention to those comments. They see those comments, and honestly, guys, the Switch 2 is very comfortable. I do think it is the most comfortable handheld, beating out the Steam Deck, Legion, and ROG Ally. Hands down. They got it down packed. This system is awesome. You will not be disappointed if you buy this system. We're not even going to talk about it again. Actually, we should talk about it again because they are getting massive support. Every third-party developer is on board with the Nintendo Switch 2. Xbox threw their hands up. Microsoft is supporting the system hands down. So be prepared for Microsoft to put all their games on the Nintendo Switch 2. Microsoft is backing Nintendo Switch 2 100%. Every developer is on board, even your favorite company that made GTA, Rockstar, is on board. And I do believe that GTA 6 will be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 next year. This system is very powerful. It's the most powerful handheld right now. It's beating out those PC handhelds, and they are getting every game. Every developer in their mother's name is developing games for the Nintendo Switch 2. And on top of that, Nintendo they're not even finished announcing games. They just wait. All the 25 launch titles they have showed so far, every title they have showed so far for the Nintendo Switch is just to whet our appetites. They have so many games coming down the pipeline right now, it's not even funny. So the price is not even affecting people. People are loving the Nintendo Switch 2. They lined up. They got the system. Everybody's happy with it. No complaints. Everybody's playing it. Everybody is loving it. This thing is going to replace your PS5. And we're not even going to talk about Xbox because Xbox, they're done. They're out of it. They're a third-party company now. I mean, the Switch is going to smoke anything that comes out. Nintendo got this in their bag. They're coming off of a hot streak of 152 million Nintendo Switches sold. And they're about to take over once again with this more powerful system. Now, the game keycard situation, we're not even going to talk about that. I'm not going to elaborate on that. You guys seen so many videos on the game keycards. I'm not supporting them. I went to the store, seen some game keycards. Nada. I'm not buying it. So if there is a game that I'm interested in, I'm just going to go to the eShop and download it. If it comes out on the cartridge, you already know I'm going to buy the cartridge version. So Nintendo needs to hurry up and get their act together and come out with different size Nintendo Switch 2 cartridges, 8 gigs, 2 gigs, 16 gigs, whatever they need to accommodate these games. They need to get more games fully on cartridges. Me, myself, and a lot of people do not mind paying that extra $10 for those cartridge-based games that's fully on cartridges. So that's all. That's my only gripe with Nintendo right now. You got to get these developers on board to put all the games on cartridges. If you got to eat the cost, eat the cost. As time goes on, these cartridges, in theory, should get a lot cheaper, where developers feel more comfortable put their games on cartridges due to the lower cost. So hopefully, and I know it's kind of hard with the tariffs and what's going on, but that's just how technology is. As time goes on, things get cheaper. You buy these cartridges by the bulk, It's cheaper. It's actually $16 Nintendo is charging companies, which is a lot, but a lot better than the $30 that were charging back in the days with the N64. So hopefully, they can, in the next couple of years, sooner than later, they can even get it cut down more than half. Not only to $8, but less than $8. That'll be dope, but we'll see what happens. So far, so good. This system seems like it's going to take a good minute to like update, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just fast forward through all of this. See you guys in a minute. All right, here we go, boys and girls. So let's see how snappy the Nintendo eShop is. It's the same eShop as the OG Nintendo Switch, but a little different. Organized wise, it's organized a little different, but it's the same eShop. I love the big screen though. I like how the first page you see the welcome tour. And Split Fiction. I wish Nintendo would throw out a lot more demos this time around. I'm going to I'm going to add that to my wish list. Oh wow, that was pretty quick.
What? Run! Definitely run! What is the ice cream's deal?
Remember, guys, to turn off auto brightness. Switch 2 is pretty loud. That was the first game on my wish list. New to Nintendo Switch, see more. You know what? Let's just go to. Let's just search and browse. Action. Okay, so it's broken down. Role playing, shooting, simulation, sports. See all genre. Fighting, racing. Okay, so I like how they break the games down into categories. Unlike the OG Switch, training, garage. View all software. It Takes Two. I need to pick that game up physically. Skyrim. Man, this screen is so detailed. And of course I have to check out Xenoblade. Wow, this screen is nice. That's it. Bundle. Expansion pass. Oh yeah, the eShop is fast. Alright guys, so that's gonna do it for today. This was an unboxing. Hope you guys managed to secure a Switch 2. I'm pretty sure it wasn't hard. They have plenty of Switch 2s available at retail, especially if you didn't manage to pre-order one or pick one up last night at the midnight launch. Like and subscribe if you're new to my channel.